Laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you cry alone. But what if your job involves making people laugh while you stand all alone on a big, empty stage? Sounds like a nightmare, right? But it's not, as long as you know how to make people laugh. Which brings us to today's interviewee. But first things first. Hey guys, I'm Jana, and this is In Their Shoes, the show that's all about standing up, standing out, and being yourself, just like Crocs. In every episode, we interview someone who's designed to be different, like today's guest, who happens to be such a well-known comedian that he needs no introduction. So why am I introducing him? Most people have only seen Nik Rabinowitz on stage, but today we get to meet the man behind the mic in his own home. Let's go. So let's start with how did you get into comedy?
After I finished studying business science at UCT, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and I got a job as a theatre assistant for a theatre company working in Africa, and so I travelled that year in seven countries around Southern Africa working with actors. And then I decided, no, I really like to do this myself, but I didn't have any training. And then a friend of mine happened to be sitting at a restaurant one day, and I overheard her talking about a stand-up comedy lab in Woodstock, and I went, and they had an open mic. They were like, perform something, and I performed something, and they said, well, you should come down on Sunday to the Armchair. And that was 2 weeks after September the 11th, 2001. So that's when I had my first experience of stand-up. I had just started acting, but I was really bad. I'd only been in one thing, and every night we put people to sleep.
Wow.
In the audience. My mom came to see it, and she was like, I really don't think this is. And then I came back to Cape Town. I was in Joburg, and then I thought, maybe I should use my degree. But then I somehow got sort of a job with corporate theatre, and that's how I got into performing, actually. And then stand-up was 6 months later, and it was just this by chance thing. And then I'd never been to stand-up.
And when you first got up for the first time,
yeah,
what was that like?
It was thrilling.
Yeah. Was it nerve-wracking?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I was playing a character in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was playing a Zimbabwean donkey wrestler called Jabulani Ndlovu. Luckily, it was 2001. If I tried that now, I'd be cancelled. Probably a year into it, I had to drop the character.
Okay.
And then it was quite confronting, because I had to be funny as me, and initially I wasn't.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, once I remember this very vividly. It was a keg and something or other, and it was a stand-up night, and I was bombing, and somebody shouted, "Get off" or something, and I was like, okay, and I just dropped the mic, and I walked off stage out the door, and just kept walking up Main Road Rondebosch, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. And then I was actually in a coaching program at the time. I had a coach, and he or she or whoever it was like, no, that's just a temporary setback. What, do you still want to, I mean, you said you wanted to be a comedian. I was like, yeah, but I don't know if I do anymore. But then I got back on the horse.
What do you do if you get on stage and it's just not working?
Well, now it's easier just to be, honest about, because now when I'm testing out shows now, I tell the audience, some of this is not going to work. And then I go, that really didn't work. Let's not do that again. Kind of how I got into stand-up was after working in Africa with a theatre company for a year. A friend of mine was like, you can perform. And I was like, I can't perform. I don't have any training and whatever. She was like, no, you can. But I was like, but I'm shy. And I was painfully shy.
Really?
Especially at school. I never got up on stage. I never did any dramatic stuff. I was very concerned with being cool and not making a fool of myself.
Wow.
So she was like, go do this course. And I went and did this personal development thing. It was a weekend, and it was profoundly life-altering. It was like a massive breakthrough in... Actually, I think I created the possibility of vulnerability, of being open, vulnerable, or open and courageous and fully self-expressed. That was the thing that I came away with. And I immediately took action. Like even I think halfway through the weekend, I phoned someone in Joburg who was casting a play. And by the Wednesday, I was in my little Folksy on my way to Joburg with my future wife's TV, because she needed her TV in Pretoria. But we weren't even together. I just happened to drive her TV. And on the way, I was also apologizing to almost like every woman I'd ever been in a relationship with, because you had to like clean up your past as well. So I was like, making all these calls, driving to Joburg, having to kick my accelerator every time I got to a robot because the accelerator cable would get stuck. And then you had to use your left foot to depress the clutch and the brake at the same time while you pulled up the handbrake, and then with your right foot, bang the accelerator so that it would come unstuck.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So now you were really shy as a kid. So you went to this personal development course. What changed?
I got up in front of 300 people, and and what we were discussing at that point was the concern that human beings have for putting up this facade of looking good, and desperately avoiding looking bad. And I was like, oh my God, that's my whole life. And I got up there and said something to that effect, like, I'm terrified of talking to all these people because of what you might think about me. And actually, everyone's concerned about themselves. And so you don't really care that much, actually. It's like, oh, they don't actually care that much. I can just be however I want to be. I can just be real, authentic. And that was like a huge opening. I still get nervous.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like every time?
Not every time. Not every time, but it's always there. But it's just like, now it's just part of, that's what you need to feel.
Yeah, so you accept the nervousness.
Yeah. It's like if you let the fear be, it lets you be.
That's interesting. Yeah, makes sense. If you let the fear be, it lets you be. I like that. So when you get nervous before a show now, do you just kind of accept it and carry on regardless?
Yeah, and I think it's like also giving up the idea of who you think you are. Like I had an idea that I was shy, like a thing, like an immutable object that thing is shy, and it's actually not. It's just this survival story that you put together to make it in life.
So, advice for people who want to step out more and want to be seen more. What would you? And do you have any advice?
They say advice is the worst advice, Janet.
Is it though?
Similar to what I've just been saying, which is really, I guess, firstly to give up something. I'd say giving up whatever, I guess it's first distinguishing what's in the way that if you took out of the way, you'd be free and fully self-expressed.
Okay.
So if what's in the way is...
wanting to be cool or something.
I mean, what's in the way, would you say, for you?
Definitely what people think.
Yeah.
You know, like will I kind of do something that people judge in some way?
Yes. So what's in the way is your concern for what people will think. I actually recently just realized that I had a story about myself that I was stupid, that I made up when I was 14.
Okay.
I used to take my friends camping, and I had a few pseudo-intellectual friends who'd get high and then start talking about these philosophical concepts, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. And I made up I was stupid. And to compensate, I started telling jokes. And so I created this Jack-in-the-Box performer character just to compensate really for being stupid.
Wow.
And at our 30th reunion, the same person was there and got into the same conversation with them. And I realized it didn't really make any sense what they were saying.
Interesting.
And I was like, I created all of this at 14. Just like when you were an awkward, I don't know, if you were a teenager and you decided I'm not cool, something happened. So it's kind of like looking back at that and going, I made that decision. And then I told myself, this is who I am, I'm stupid. But I can compensate by being an entertainer. And it's none of it's true. And then asking yourself, okay, now what's possible? Like in that situation. If I gave up my concern for what people thought.
Or realized that it was founded on kind of childhood things.
Founded on made up stuff. What could you then create?
yeah, then I could probably be very different socially, you know,
Yeah.
and worry a lot less.
Yeah,
know?
and if you gave up worrying, how could you be?
Much more relaxed.
Yeah.
So you gave up this idea that, what did you give up?
Well, I gave up being cool,
Okay.
which was really like aloofness, but really like protecting myself from making a fool of myself. Or
Yeah, and the irony is, when you give that up, you're actually much cooler.
yeah, and so I didn't realize what it was costing me as well.
And what did that cost you?
It cost me power, freedom, self-expression, vitality, aliveness, joy, fun, connection with people. I mean, if I look back on the 25 years of my career and like what I've done in the face of fear and how much fun it's been and the incredible people I've met and the joy I've brought to people's lives, like all out of that insight and action.
Amazing. Okay, so your advice to people would be to give up whatever it is that's holding them back. What else? Anything else?
I actually have a quote somewhere where somebody asked me to give a quote about integrity, and I said this, being honoring your word. Like if you say you're going to the fancy dress as a goat, then go as a goat. We were actually talking to our kids about it in the car yesterday. I heard my wife saying, "What's integrity, Adam?" And he's like, "Keeping your word, even when you feel like you don't feel like it."
That's good.
And I'd say that's probably been maybe the biggest factor in being successful over time for me in a small way. It's just like I said I'm going to do it. So
On stage, as what you do now, do you never just forget what you were going to say?
yeah, I do.
And then
But then I just go, I don't know what I'm going to say next. Does anyone remember what I was just talking about? And they often go, "Yeah, you were talking to that man. That imaginary man." Oh, I'm like, "Oh, yeah. So what are you here for?"
Sure, that's really interesting because that would be really, I mean, honestly, I think it's very scary to stand up in front of people like the way you do, on your own, and you have to make them laugh, which is
I think
extra pressure.
coming back to the advice is, it's like gym. It's like you've never lifted weights and you want to get triceps or something, and you go, well, you can start doing triceps every day, and then eventually.
I don't think anyone aims for triceps, but I know what
Don't
you mean. Biceps,
I like
maybe.
doing triceps.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'd rather have biceps.
Yeah, nobody says I really want
No one
good
says I
triceps.
really want triceps. I remember we had a maths teacher. People used to go, "She's got good triceps."
Wow.
But that's the thing with with courage, is it just takes practice.
Yeah.
Going to the courage gym.
Going to courage gym.
Yeah.
I like that. Do you feel like you fit in? Like the idea of fitting in versus standing out?
Yeah, I've always felt like an outsider.
Okay.
I was like the only Jewish kid in the school for a long time.
Waldorf, right?
Waldorf. And then when I moved to the government school, I was like a Waldorf child. Like that was traumatizing for the first 3 months.
Which government school?
It was Grove Primary.
Okay.
But I may as well have been on Mars. And then I always worked out how to fit in. But if you're somebody that tries to fit in, you generally never quite. But I became sporty, and I managed to fit in like that. But then I was a bit of a rebel, and I didn't. No. Business science, like also again a square peg in a round hole, and even in the comedy community, I don't. And now being a Jew right now also feels like being a pariah or something. But I think I've come to accept that is also quite intrinsic to being a comedian. Is having an outsider perspective. If you look at a lot of comedians, a lot of them have that kind of outsider feeling, and you almost need that.
So, I suppose being different, I guess it made you who you are, by the sounds of it.
It did, yeah, it did help with that.
If you could choose between fitting in or standing out, what would you choose?
Standing out, but being a part of, being connected to. So when I'm standing out, I'm creating community. I'm not like, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Because there's an arrogance that's attached to, and I was arrogant for a long time. I was like, no, I'm cooler and better. And yeah. And now I think I'm more about creating community.
What changed?
Well, I had a coach who pointed that out to me. He was like, your arrogance is in the way of really connecting with your audience. And leadership, or standing out, or whatever you want to call it, in certain contexts, you know, the tall poppy syndrome, where when they're growing poppies in these giant fields of poppies.
Yeah.
Somehow, I can't remember what the reasoning is, but if one poppy gets too high, they have to lop it off.
Huh.
Like that. And so there's a danger attached to putting your head above the parapet.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't.
Yeah.
What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Well, I arrived home yesterday from 2 weeks away, and my 9-year-old daughter running down the passage and jumping into my arms brings me a lot of joy. And then I played paddle with my 2 boys, and we sweated and we were competitive and we shouted, and I said, "Mine!" And Adam was like, "Jesus, Dad." I heard somebody say this recently. They said to a comedian, "Who are you jealous of?" I think he was a comedian. And he said, "I'm jealous of people with little kids that are still at home." Like, he was in his 60s, his kids had all left. And it wasn't what I was expecting him to say. Because if it's somebody had asked me, I'd say, Trevor Noah getting the Daily Show. And having hundreds of millions of dollars.
Totally.
But family brings me joy.
Fantastic.
And my dog.
Your dog brings you joy.
My dog brings me a lot of joy. Eh? Bye.
Last question.
Yes.
Do you feel pressure to be funny, like when people meet you?
No. I mean, I probably used to, and on occasion it just kicks in. I've got to be the jack in the box now. Luckily, I'm married to somebody who often reminds me in social situations. I'll never forget once we were at a 50th birthday 10 years ago, and there was maybe 15 people there, and people started making impromptu speeches, and it was going around the thing, and it got to me, and everyone was like, "Oh, come on, Nick!" And my wife leaned over, whispered in my ear and said, "I dare you not to be funny."
Wow.
I like just be real.
And did you?
Yeah.
Did you just not say anything funny?
Which actually is, in terms of being, and in terms of now being nervous, way more confronting for me now. To say, to just be authentic and not become the comedian.
That makes you nervous.
That makes me nervous, yeah.
So, okay, I lied. Last question. Who is the authentic Nik?
Who is the authentic Nik? I would say still Nik.
Okay.
Stillness is my essence, like when I'm in the mountains on my own or whatever. I'm still contemplative. I think I'm quite philosophical isn't the word, but like I'm interested in people and people's potential and what's possible and making a difference. That's something that's been a passion of mine for a long time, is how to make a difference for others.
Gosh, well, you could teach a lot of young people about confidence and integrity and the stuff that you're teaching your kids.
Yeah.
You know, that could make a huge difference to kids. Cool. No, I think we're done. That was
Great.
great. Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
May the fast be with you. As Swami Beyond and Under used to say, if you want to be enlightened, you must lighten up.
Subscribe to walk in another person's inspiring shoes and tell us what you think of this video in the comments below.